Good evening, everybody, and good morning to Coralie, who's in the Southern Hemisphere, and others who may be as well. Mary Hunt here at Water. This is the December 2024 meditation as we move toward the solstice through one of the darkest times, both physically and historically, that many of us have known. Kate Moody offers us inner light this hour, and we're so happy to have you, Kate, and so appreciate your offering. I'm joined by my colleagues, Magdalena might want to wave. Magdalena Mueller from the Thuringia region in central Germany, and Wed Naji, Wed, you can wave, from Bonn, who are with us for the year as members of the Brethren Voluntary Service in the U.S. and the Irani Peace Group in Germany. Thanks to you both for your Zoom help tonight. Last month, a number of you will remember that Rosemary Ganley took us right up to the edge of the U.S. elections in her presentation, Taking the Long View. It's available on the Water website if you want to view it. One of the questions she asks was, what is something we're going to do differently after the election? Now, a month out, feels like a year, we're still finding our new ways. I want to say thanks again to Rosemary and congratulations to her on her investiture this week in the Order of Canada this coming Thursday. We'll all be with you in the deepest spirit of gratitude. And actually, Diane New and I are in a private capacity, not as Water, but in a private capacity, are going up for the party in Ottawa. So that's going to be great fun, and we're so excited about Rosemary Ganley. Tonight we begin, as always, with a land acknowledgement during this month of attention to these questions, and I'm grateful to President Biden for offering a sincere apology on the part of the U.S. to our Native American kin a while ago, whose relatives were exploited in boarding schools. It's a start, Mr. President. It's a start. It's not a finish. We at Water are on the indigenous land in Silver Spring, Maryland, that was the traditional and contemporary land of the Piscataway and Anacostan peoples. We acknowledge the trauma and injustice toward indigenous people and other people of color that's deep in U.S. culture and history. We join in efforts to eradicate it and to make reparations for the genocide involved. All of Water's work, literally all of our work, is aimed at bringing about social justice. Please consider the Native people on whose land you sit so gratefully today. If you wish to put their names in the chat, feel free. Let us take just a moment of silence to gather ourselves as we reflect on our indigenous kin. Our format tonight is, as always, our presenter offers something brief, usually 7, max 8 minutes, to spark our contemplation. I will thank the speaker and ring the gong. Here's what it sounds like when we have finished. That will be the signal to move into the 22 minutes of contemplative silence that we shared together. Enough time to get into a meditative state. Feel free to turn off your cameras at that point. Of course, turn off your sound now so that we have a good, clear line. There'll be a visual on the screen if you like something to look at as you meditate. And then after the 22 minutes, we'll open the floor for conversation, and I'll give further instructions at that time. We send out a link to the video of this presentation and any notes in the week following the meditation so you can review it or share it with others. There are, as you know, many styles of meditation. We don't really push one. You know what's best for you to get you into a contemplative space, whether it's breathing with attention, a word or a phrase acting as a mantra. Do whatever works for you. The key in this setting is that we're doing it together. Lots of people meditate on their own, but the key in this setting is to do it together. And this we learned from our dear friend Nancy Sylvester, who pioneered this approach and calls it Communal Contemplation and Dialogue. In Nancy's book, Journey Faith in an Entangled World, Journey Faith in an Entangled World, was the subject of a recent Water talk that can be accessed on our website and watched on YouTube. You may find it helpful for your own meditation. Just go into programs and scroll down a couple of months ago, and Nancy Sylvester's program on her book Journey Faith is there, and she just talks there a little bit about meditation. So please now um, mute your volume and mute your audio, and we will move into our period of presentation and then reflection.
Hmm.
I want to welcome Kate Moody, who grew up in Berkeley, Berkeley, California, where she says that the All Souls Episcopal Parish was a formative place for her. I must say, I remember it very vividly. I lived on north side of Berkeley for a number of
Oh,
years, and yes, I was a North Sider for 6, 7 years. She's also a church musician whose pandemic project was, as she reports, quote, studying for a Master of Spiritual Studies degree from Emerson Theological Institute. And in 2023, Kate founded Musical Sanctuary, a 501c3, which offers contemplative services of music, readings, guided and spiritual meditation, exploring different topics and principles related to spiritual growth and healing, centered around the Connect and Glow meditative practice. Kate, you've been in this circle several times, so you know how we function. Your input, 6 or 7 minutes, then the gong sounding, and we move into 22 minutes of shared silence, followed by dialogue. We close promptly at 8:30, keeping the Zoom open for informal conversation for those who wish. We thank you in advance, Kate, and we very much look forward to your wisdom from the north side of Berkeley to Zoom.
thank you,
Welcome.
Mary. I always say you can take the girl out of Berkeley, but you can't take Berkeley out of the girl. Um,
A good place to be from, actually. I spent some of my happiest years there, so
me too.
absolutely.
Um, well, and thank you, Mary, and thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. And uh, it's to me, no matter how tough things are outside, I can always stop and take a moment um, and get centered inside, especially at this with the holiday busyness and people are all busy, and I'm going, no, I just want to slow down and get in rhythm with the earth, with the season, quieting, reflecting, remembering. The Santa Fe Center for Spiritual Living has a motto that I love, which is remembering God, reminding each other. Um, and in the Northern Hemisphere, where the light is fading away, it's important to come to inner light. It's actually a perfect time to connect with inner light. And I do want to tell you a little bit about the Connect and Glow meditation, which I discovered while I was reading A General Theory of Love, which is a book by some psychiatrists. They talk about the importance of limbic resonance for emotional and psychological well-being. And limbic resonance happens when you spend time over time in healthy relationships. Um, and it begins with imprinting when you're an infant, when your caregivers, hold you and look into your eyes lovingly. And I was in the midst of a long-term, very debilitating depression, and I was couldn't be around people. And I also, both of my parents were distant, so I was feeling like I might have missed out on some of the limbic imprinting. But I've studied energy, and as a musician, I'm often just immersed in the middle of energy. I mean, we're always in the middle of energy. We're in a energy soup, but the vibrancy of music makes it more obvious to me about energy. And I thought, well, if everything is energy, including our thoughts, perhaps I can do limbic stimulation, like picturing it, imagining it. And I began to imagine like a little energy massage where I thought my limbic brain would be. And it began to alleviate the depression. Um, and then I added other energy centers, and that became um, the Connect and Glow meditation. And it just begins with, like most meditations, where you take a deep breath and then relax as you let a wave of relaxation just wash through and just wash away all the tension and everything that we're carrying and dealing with. And then, excuse me, you imagine a dot on the bottom of each foot and a dot in the center of the belly, about an inch below the belly button, and a dot in the middle of the chest, and a dot in the palm of each hand, and then you bring your awareness to your forehead, and going directly inward, you imagine a dot in the center of your brain. And then you draw a line from the dot in the center of your brain to the dot in the center of your chest. Two lines radiate out through the arms to the dots in the palms of the hands. And I'll draw a line from the dot in the chest to the dot in the belly, and two lines radiate out from the dot in the belly through each leg to the dots on the bottoms of the feet. And so what you've done is connected the dots and created a stick figure inside yourself like a child's drawing. And then you imagine that you have a rheostat light switch, and you gently bring up the power, and this inner stick figure begins to glow. So that is connect and glow. And with my awareness on my feet, even though the earth is slumbering in the Northern Hemisphere, it is still full of aliveness and support and beauty. I can feel my feet connecting with the earth and tune in to the harmony that is all part of the trees and the wind and the waterways, the rhythm of the season, and letting that connection regulate my system. And feeling comfortable in my chair, I can be present in my body, enjoying creative flow as it moves through me, allowing ideas to percolate and ripen, and sometimes feeling creativity rising up. And I can breathe into my heart and allow abiding love to suffuse my being with care and compassion and understanding and forgiveness. And I can imagine my heart to be like the sun in this poem from the 14th century Persian mystic Hafiz. Even after all this time, the sun never says to the earth, "You owe me." Look what happens with the love like that. It lights the whole sky. I can feel expansive and open in my mind, allowing helpful thoughts to arise, such as reminders to be grateful. One February, I was on a ferry in the Pacific Northwest, looking out the window at this gray, just gray, gray, gray. And it had been gray for days and days. And I thought, what can I be grateful about with this? And then I noticed on one of the clouds there was this pale lavender shadow. And that inspired a piano piece called Lavender Shadows and this poem, Thank You. Thank you for pink in the sky this bare branch morning. Thank you for robin egg, blue sliver on the horizon, for muffled evergreens sketched in charcoal and mist on a steely lavender shadow of island. I can have thoughts of gratitude that I draw into my heart, where the gratitude is enlivened with love that I draw to the earth, and gratitude for being held in beauty and bounty. And as we go into our quiet time, I encourage you to occasionally breathe into your heart and enjoy the sweetness that lives there. And one more poem from Hafiz. How did the rose ever open its heart and give to the world all of its beauty? It felt the encouragement of light against its being. Otherwise, we all remain too frightened. And I'll put in the chat YouTube links for the Lavender Shadows piano piece and David Wilcox's setting of the poem that I just recited, How Did the Rose Ever Open Its Heart?
Thank you very much to Kate Moody for starting us off with this lovely and now on screen beautiful reflection. Thank you, Kate. We move now into our 22 minutes of shared silence.
Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. That's a song by Carolyn McDade, if you didn't know.
Thanks so much, Kate, for that beautiful rendition of Carolyn's song and also for your input tonight for our meditation. Really appreciate it, and I hope people found it as fruitful as I did. The floor is now open for comments. If anyone would like to comment on the basis of their reflection, use the raise hands button, which is at the bottom under the react uh, setting. Just raise your hand as I just did, and it will bring you to the top of the queue so we know who's next to speak. And then when you're finished, just lower your hand and it will move you right along as well. It's nice to offer your name and your location as well as your comment, and we look forward to hearing from as many people as would like to speak. So if we keep those comments brief, that facilitates the larger project. So I now open the floor with gratitude. I'll start with two short reflections. One is I came away with the image of the body lit up, the glow part, and that was a new image for me. Uh, that kind of energy, it described quite that way, depicted by a stick figure. So that's something that I will certainly want to spend some time with. The other thing I want to comment on, Kate, is the beautiful rose picture. I don't know where its origin, but it reminded me of a series of pictures by a colleague of ours, friend of ours, Liz Tolman. Liz was a Sister of the Humility from Ottumwa, Iowa, and she was very involved in a group in Los Angeles called Media and Values, and a pioneer really in media value questions. But as she progressed in her life, she developed cancer, and she was a great photographer, and she photographed flowers and made them enormous. I mean, they were size of I mean, it's long. You can see where my hands are, but bigger. And they went on walls in hospitals and hospices and so forth, and became a really um, treasured part of pastoral care in a number of settings. So your rose reminded me of that in a most happy way. So I don't know if you want to say where that picture came from or if you even know, but maybe you took it. But it reminded me in a happy way of the late Liz Tolman, who was a great inspiration to our own work on cancer at Water and um, her own work for in spiritual direction and in a non parochial way. That is, the flowers are so ubiquitous and so common and so uh, plentiful that there's no need for any kind of parochial content whatsoever.
Mm.
Thank you.
What I love about flowers is that they are opening up. They just bring that energy of opening. And that is a photograph that I took.
It's lovely. Thank you.
Oh, I love my iPhone.
Well, and she made them into greeting cards too. In fact, I think I
Mm-hmm.
just sent my last one to someone.
Mm.
I bought them for years and years, and I don't think you can get them anymore. But they're a beautiful card to send to someone who's ill, and or even someone who's well. Jean Christensen, please go ahead, take the floor.
I just kind of have to smile because I'm sort of fanatical about taking pictures of flowers
Mm-hmm.
and have tons and tons of them. I used to make cards with them as well, but people aren't writing much anymore. And what do you do with them once you have made them? But the real point, one of my favorites happens to be iris, which is something I got from my dad, I think. But normally iris bloom in the spring. And my beloved friend died in September, and I was out walking the grounds around where I live, and there were iris blooming. Now, for me, that was, of course, a message. But I learned later that it's a particular kind that blooms twice a year. But when I saw it, it was a moment, it was a message that Pat was in heaven and all things would be fine. So flowers speak to me in a lot of different ways, but that was just one of them. So Mary, if you want cards, I can always make them for you.
We'll be in touch.
All right.
Thanks. Carol, were you raising your hand? Or just stretching there? I can't tell. Who's next? Yeah, Magdalena?
I just wanted to say that the flower reminded me of the cherry blossoms. Is it cherries in Washington that I have to look forward to? And it just made me grateful for the opportunity to be at water and all the things that come with it. So that's something I was thinking about.
Yes, it's a very special time in Washington. Once you see it, you'll never forget it. It's really it's a very special experience. Look forward to it. Cheryl Nichols.
Kate, I want to thank you for putting the music in the chat. I transitioned from an hour and 15-minute long meeting right before coming to the water meditation. And I just loved the lavender shadows. I listened to it almost all the way through. And I tried to capture the picture that you had of just the grayness, but that distant island and that line of light. It reminds me of the line of light that comes first in the morning. And it just, I was looking at the picture of the rose, listening to the lavender shadows, and it just put me in a place of peace and calm, and wanted enabled me, I hope, to open my heart the way that rose was open. So thank you for that.
Thanks, Cheryl. Mary Day?
I was reminded of a song by Sarah Thompson. She's a folk songwriter and singer out of Minneapolis. And it's called How Can You Sing? How Can You Sing? Something like that. Anyway, it's how can you sing? How can you dream? How can you love in times like these? Don't you know the things that are going on? Don't you understand? But it's somewhere, a song is somewhere to begin, and all of those are somewhere to start. And love. So if you don't know, a song is somewhere to begin by Sarah Thompson. She has lots and lots and lots of wonderful music, but that one came to my mind tonight.
Yeah, we can certainly search it out and put it in the chat. We'll put it in the chat if we can find it now. But if not, we'll just put it in the notes, and you'll get those in a couple
Okay.
days, along with the video of this. Yes, please, Elise, please go ahead and welcome.
Hi, I'm a little blurry, I think, because I'm in darkness now here in Seattle. Was able to kind of watch the sun go down over my yard as we were listening to Kate and that. But what I was struck by was the kind of a takeoff on the line from and everything. That's how the light gets in. But for me, it was there is a light and everything, and that's how the warmth gets in, because I was just feeling very warm and appreciate the visual of the glow within. Thank you.
Thanks, Elise. Nice to have you with us. Carly?
Yes, well, it's a little different here. The roses are out and the cherries are ripe, sign of Christmas for us. But I was thinking about the outer light and how it shines on, of course, all of us. And this year, the Jewish and the Christians are celebrating the light on the same day. You know, Christmas Day is also Erev Hanukkah. So the light is really shining for us and needs to. We need to be open to it. That's what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm. And you had said at the outset, before some people had joined us, about the anti-Semitic activity in Sydney, in Melbourne, pardon me.
And Melbourne, yeah. Where I am particularly, yes. It's been really, really bad. I mean, we've had all sorts of little incidents, but this major one of the firebombing of the synagogue on Friday has really got everybody thinking and acting about how we can build up our communities, not have them torn down.
Yes, we've had a spate of similar problems across the country in Jewish institutions, as you know, and many of them have had to post police. Many of our synagogues now have heavy police presence, and that's really rather a dismal scene. Thank you, Carly. Anyone else? Kate, would you like to add a word? Or have you said what you want to?
Well, I was thinking about what you said about the inner stick figure, which I find very helpful. And one thing that I do with it is I'll hum in, like, while I'm imagining the light, I'll also hum. So it loosens things up, because I find that um, any kind of um, tension I have, or physical pain, emotional pain, that is usually related to some kind of contraction in my energy field. So, I mean, picturing the light is helpful. It helps to open things up, but humming helps also.
Hmm.
And I do think that it relates to me, in my mind, it relates to um, your mission and vision of justice, in that um, when I'm caring for myself, my inner self, then I'm better able to care for others. And when I'm speaking with others, um, I think that I have found that if I'm in a heart-centered place, that it's easier to communicate than when I'm frustrated or angry or having judgment about those other people. Helps me have compassion.
Mhm. Thank you. Anybody else before we close up tonight, this morning? I don't want to cut off if anybody has something they'd like to add. If not, we'll move to our closing announcements with a deep thanks to you, Kate, and a request, if you're so inclined, to send us your notes from tonight that we can put in our notes and send out if that's something you'd like to do, and also make sure that it includes a link to your website and the work that you're doing so people can follow up if they wish. I think that's always something that's helpful. Um,
Thank you. I'll do
yeah.
that.
And where are you located? Are you?
I'm in Alpine, California. It's east of San Diego.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Great. Great. Yeah, just so people kind of have a feel for you and for what you're doing, and for people that you're doing it with, and you're not too far from the border there, so you see some of the things that many of us are very concerned about in our daily lives. So
Yeah.
thank you for the resources that you provided tonight that will help us, I think, to be more steadfast in that work.
Mm.
Let me remind that this is the last meditation for this year. We have a couple of openings for next year if anyone would like to offer their um, services, as it were. It's a very easy task in a way. You just offer something for 6 to 8 minutes, and it really does, as Kate has demonstrated, it really does spark a lot for other people. So let me know, mhunt@hers.com, if you'd like to do that, and I'll tell you the dates that are available. And we are looking for diverse leadership, so um, please do offer that if you can. It also allows those of us who are part of the water team to have the experience not only of having to prepare, not only having the opportunity to prepare such materials, but also to just enjoy them. And I find that kind of rotating leadership very fruitful for myself and for others as well. I think, yeah, believe me, you'd be very tired of me after a while. Um, so our last program for the year will be on Tuesday, December 17th. Diane New and the Water Community, a solstice of resistance, solidarity, and recommitment. And I'm quite sure that it will be a lovely opportunity as we in the north move into winter, and you, Coralie, and others in the south move into summer. We'll take a time to pause and reconsider and refresh and recommit. The darkness and dormancy and silent beauty of winter offer time for new visions to emerge, and we certainly need them. Mysteries, Diane writes, lie in darkness. The warmth of the summer sun heralds new opportunities. So all of this will be celebrated, honoring resistance, solidarity, and recommitment. I think it's a nice way to bring the calendar year to a close. So our next meditation in this series will be on January the 27th, which is a Monday evening, and Brad Lutz, who's present with us, will be leading the meditation. And I can say, after having been a part of, Brad, a number of your meditations, I highly recommend them. Highly recommend you as a spiritual guide, and can say that the topic that you're at least toying with has to do with loneliness. So I think as we move into the first month of the new year, will be almost the end of the first month of the new year, that will be a very timely topic. Feel free to join us in the new year for programs. We'll commence in the latter part of January. We like to take kind of a longer break to really renew and refresh ourselves. And as you know, all of our programs are free and open to everyone. Donate if you can. We need your donations. We welcome them, especially at the end of the year. Our goal, however, is to socialize resources so that those who can donate do so, and those who can't have no thought about whether they would come to a program or not. Of course, everyone is welcome. Donation, whether you donate or the size of your donation, does not impact anything at all in terms of programs. You're simply welcome. But we're very grateful for the many of you who do support our efforts, and we believe at Water, and I do believe this firmly, that if we share among us, there's enough. It's a big if we share among us, there's enough. But it seems to work, and seems to have worked for 40 years, and I'm not giving it up tonight. So, yeah, let's share. Thanks to Kate Moody for light, and to Magdalena and Wed for tech help. Notes and videos will be on the website and in your email box soon. I want to wish everybody peaceful holidays, the coming of summer in Australia and the onset of winter in the north. Be safe, be well, and be together. And now we'll simply open the Zoom for people who might want to chat a little bit.